Good things have come in threes for the Indians. 3 straight strong outings by Indians starting pitchers have led to a 3-game winning streak for the Tribe. Fausto Carmona looks for his 3rd straight quality start today as the Indians look to get back to the 500 mark against the White Sox. Next on Channel 3. The Indians look to sweep the Chicago White Sox today at Progressive Field here in downtown Cleveland. It's a cool, cloudy afternoon as the Tribe looks to keep the train rolling. Hi, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. The Tribe has pitched extremely well. Now, Rick, it's almost like, is it a chicken or the egg theory? Because the Indians have pitched very well. The White Sox have one of the worst offenses in baseball. So which is it? Is it the Tribe's good pitching, or has it been the White Sox poor hitting?
Well, right now, I'm going to say it's the Tribe's good pitching because these starters are feeding off each other. What they're doing, they're throwing strikes. They're, under 12 pitches per inning. They're averaging over 8 innings a start into 3 games. And I'll tell you what, when you can do that, you're going to stay in the ball game. They haven't walked anybody. They really have had the ground ball working, let the defense work, and you don't have to score many runs. They've gotten a timely hit when need be. They push that run across. That's why you win 3 in a row. Anytime you have good starting pitching, you're in a chance to win every game.
Maybe a reason why the White Sox offense is struggling is because they played the Indians a lot.
That's exactly right.
This will already be their 6th meeting, and this the 12th game of the season for the Tribe. Fausto Carmona gets the call today, and he has pitched very well so far this year. You really can't ask for much more than what he's done.
No, you cannot. He started against the White Sox, had one little hiccup, and that was a home run to Paul Konerko. That was the only run he gave up in that game, and then follows that start up against the Texas Rangers and pitched a gem. He didn't get a decision in this one, but Fausto Carmona seems to be settled in. He's slowing everything down. As I said, he's beaten the White Sox this year. He's going to try and do it again. He'll be matched up against Gavin Floyd with a no decision in his first outing against the Tribe.
Well, the Indians had that slump that started in Detroit, carried over to the home opener against the Texas Rangers, but a win today gets them back to 500 here in the early start of the season. We'll be back with all the play-by-play action coming up next. We are
What's going on? You got...
Well, it's a cold and cloudy afternoon here in downtown Cleveland, but the Indians fans who are here are warm and ready to go, hoping for a Tribe sweep. On the hill today for the Indians will be right-hander Fausto Carmona. And while we have a chance, let's have a look at Ozzie Guillen's starting 9 for Chicago. Juan Pierre leading it off in left field, and Gordon Beckham, the second baseman, in the 2-hole. Mark Kotze is in right field batting third, and Paul Konerko at first hits cleanup. A.J. Przinsky will catch in bat fifth. Alex Rios, the center fielder, hitting sixth. Mark Teahen will DH in bat seventh. Omar Vizquel in the lineup today, batting eighth. And Alexei Ramirez will hit ninth.
Today's starting pitcher is brought to you by the Indians Team Shops, where you'll get 2 free Tribe tickets when you spend $50. It'll be Fausto Carmona on the mound for the Indians today, making start number 3. His second start this year against the White Sox. He beat them in his very first start this year, where he went 6 innings, gave up 1 hit, 3 runs. He walked 6. Struck out 1 and gave up the 2-run homer to Paul Konerko. But Fausto going to go back out there and try and continue the string of very good starts for Indians starting pitchers. Let's take a look at the Home Depot doing more on defense, Indians defensive lineup. In the outfield, it's Brantley in left, Sizemore in center, Chu is in right. On the infield, Peralta at third, Cabrera at short, Valbuena at second, Laporta is at first. And behind the plate, as always, Mike Redmond when Fausto Carmona pitches. That's more savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
And the umpires today, Dan Bellino calling balls and strikes. The crew chief, Jerry Lane at first, Mike Winters at second, Hunter Wendelstedt down at third. Juan Pierre climbs in, 1 for 7 in the series. And Fausto Carmona's first pitch is down low.
I think any offensive numbers you look at from either one of these teams are going to be a little shaky, because they are the 13th and 14th, clubs in the league as far as batting average goes. 216 average for the White Sox, 215 for the Indians.
Now, again, I guess I would pose the question to you. Is that an indictment of the offensive lineups, or is it an endorsement of the pitching they've faced?
I think it's pretty much an endorsement of the pitching, but for the offenses, when we played the White Sox, 5 out of the 6 days right now have been pretty chilly. So I would think that the pitchers have the upper hand. But you can't take away from the pitching. It's been very good on both sides.
The 1-2 pitch, and it's a blooped foul down the left side. Well, Ozzie Guillen was asked after the game yesterday about the White Sox lack of offense, and he quickly defended his hitting coach, Greg Walker. And he says, quote, "As long as my coaches go out there and work, give the guys the information, that's all you can do."
Right. You have a tendency to blame the coaches and everything when a team is struggling, whether it's pitching or hitting.
And a base hit to left field for Juan Pierre to start the game.
That's the first hit given up by Carmona to a left-hander this year. They're now 1 for 21. And he had him, he was ahead in the count. Watch, he leaves it up, and this guy just slashes it. I remember he got a hit against us in Chicago where he picked the ball up off the ground on an 0-2 pitch. So slaps it the other way, gets a base hit.
And Gordon Beckham steps in. Beckham hitting .261 so far on the year. Bunts it third base side, and that's going to roll foul. To further the words of Ozzie Guillen, who again was asked about his lack of offense so far this year, and again he quickly came to defend his hitting coach. He said, "It's the hitter's fault. It's not Greg Walker's fault," the hitting coach. He said, "I'm not going to fire a guy that has nothing to do with this thing. They don't need a hitting coach. They need to get some bleeping hits."
That's exactly right. You have to perform. You have to do it yourself. You can sometimes, when an offense is struggling, they try to do a little too much. And until you get to that attitude and say, forget about it, I don't care, then and you seem to relax a little bit more, it certainly helps. But what Ozzie will do, he will start runners. He'll try and be aggressive. He'll try and do anything to get it going.
Bouncing ball foul, wide of third.
They hit into a few double plays yesterday, and they continued to try to start runners later in that ball game. And this Cleveland staff has a number of sinker ball pitchers. With the ground ball outs in this series, Talbot had 17 ground ball outs in the first game. Westbrook had 11 ground ball outs yesterday. You start runners when pitchers are going to be around the plate and they're not going to walk anybody.
Next pitch is popped up. Should be playable here. Chu near the line. He's got it. 1 down. Today's injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Friedman, Damiano, and Smith. When you're injured, depend on them. Find Friedman, Damiano, and Smith online at fdslaw.com. Russell Brandon continuing his rehab, getting very close. Kerry Wood through a very good bullpen session. They think that he is certainly very close. He's going to throw to some live hitters when the team goes to Minnesota on its next road trip. And based on how that goes, we'll find out what the next step in Kerry Wood's possible return may be. There may be a chance he could go on a rehab assignment. There may be a chance they just activate him.
Well, I don't know if a rehab assignment will help him out unless he really needs to throw to certain hitters.
I know the one thing that Maniac is, a little bit concerned about is that he didn't really have a spring training.
Right.
Because he was shut down, fairly early on. But he is a veteran. Knows how to get himself ready. Mark Kotze looks at a ball down low. He's struggling at the outset of this year. Just 3 hits and 22 at-bats.
Well, and normally their DH is playing right field today, where Carlos Quentin will get the day off.
There's a high drive to center. Back goes Sizemore. He'll make the catch. Pierre tags at first, but he'll have to hold right there as Grady was able to get off a good throw. 2 down. That'll bring up Paul Konerko, who, despite his early season struggles, always seems to dial it up against the Tribe. In his last 14 games played against the Indians, 6 homers, 17 runs batted in, and an average of .340.
Well, he's homered 3 times against them this year. Came close yesterday in the 9th inning.
Oh, he sure did.
Off Chris Perez. It wouldn't have been a home run, though. It was a foul ball down the left field line, probably a double. But he put a scare throughout some of the people here at the ballpark.
Well, Chris Perez said when it went off the bat, I thought, oh, no, start hooking. And he said it didn't until the very end. Runner goes. Called strike, throw to second, and not in time.
Oh, he got the hand in. A late tag.
Close play. Valbuena thinking he may have been able to apply the tag as Pierre was sliding past him, but let's take another look.
You see, he comes in front and he wants to put that tag on him, but by the time he can tag him, it looked like Pierre had his hand there. It was very close play. Watch, high tag. Well, he might have had him if he tagged him. Now, you see the umpire's right there. We didn't see if he tagged him. So that could have been.
Runner in scoring position for Konerko, who smashes one to center. Sizemore back, and he'll make the catch. So suddenly Fausto Carmona is a fly ball pitcher, and the White Sox go 1-2-3 after the leadoff single by Pierre. Now it's Shin-Soo Choo and the Tribe coming up.
Once you get to know us, you'll never want to leave us. We'll always have your back. We're ready to fight. We're ready to go. We're fans for life. We're Ohio. We are strong and we're survivors. You can test us.
Bottom of the first here at Progressive Field is Drupal Cabrera, Grady Sizemore, Shin Soo Choo at the top of the Tribe order today. Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Progressive, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. Then you see the middle, Peralta, Laporta, Valbuena. Grudzalonic DHing today. Mike Redmond behind the plate, and Michael Brantley is hitting ninth. As Drupal Cabrera, who picked a perfect time to hit his first home run of the year yesterday in the bottom of the 8th inning. That tied the game, and then 2 batters later, the Indians had regained the lead and held on to win it 3-2 yesterday over the Sox, sending Chicago to their 3rd straight loss and propelling the Tribe to its 3rd straight win. Good off-speed pitch from Gavin Floyd.
Well, Floyd, as you know, and we mentioned it in Chicago, he can throw that fastball by you upstairs. He's got a very good curveball as well, so he can change the eye level of a hitter. He will sink his fastball right there.
As Drupal Cabrera has hit in 9 of 11 games for the Indians this year. And make it 10 of 12.
Wow, what a play by the ball boy. He's up in the stands. That was heads-up play right there. That might be the best play of the day. He grabbed his stool, and he hopped over the railing and got into the seats without interfering with the ball. That was a beautiful play, as Cabrera will hit his 2nd double.
Let's take another look, and don't pay attention to Cabrera here. Just watch the ball boy.
The ball boy was unbelievable. Here he goes. He knows he's going to be in play. Up over. The ball just misses him. Well, it was just down there where we had a fan interfere with the ball against Texas.
No such issue this time. And Grady Sizemore with a chance for a first inning RBI. Now, Grady Sizemore has 5 ribbies on the year, and all 5 of those ribbies have piled up in his last 7 games. Pitch caught the outside corner for a strike.
He's starting to enjoy facing some right-handed pitching, because yesterday, late in the ball game, that hit off Matt Thornton was Grady's first base hit off a left-handed pitcher this year.
Well, he's batting .400 against the right-handers.
Yeah,
so he's had no problem with those guys.
Well, then you have to take advantage of them.
There's the 1-1. Boy, he just shaved that outside corner again. And Sizemore down on the count of ball and 2 strikes. Missed down low with it. Evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, it would make sense that if you're Gavin Floyd, you want to work away to Sizemore to try to keep him from pulling the ball on the right side and just advancing that runner over to third.
Well, you're just looking for an out here. With Grady, he pulls the ball normally anyway.
This one slices foul down the left side.
And when he makes his pitches away like that, see, he's just trying to foul it off and stay alive. When you get to 2 strikes as a hitter and you're in this situation where you have a runner at second base, you pretty much you just try and stay alive and put the ball in play. Now, should the pitcher make a mistake that enables you to pull a ball, great. But you just try and put it in play and don't strike out.
Floyd's 2-2. And just missed with it.
Good
check swing. Sizemore able to hold up.
That's the tough thing right there. He throws that curveball down and in. It's easy pitch. You see it coming, and then all of a sudden it disappears. So it's easy for the left-hander to swing and miss at that pitch because it disappears into the strike zone. But Grady's able to hold up. That's a good job there as a hitter.
And a close pitch, but Sizemore stays alive, and now the count is full. Payoff pitch. Missed inside. Looked like it might have been that same pitch.
It was. It was a curveball.
Well, let's have a look at our great clip of the game. Relax, you're at Great Clips, and Shin-Soo Choo driving one up the alley in left center field. And I mean to tell you, Grady Sizemore was flying around the bags. White Sox didn't even have a play at the plate. And that put the Indians in front to stay. And Choo with a 6-game hitting streak. It's gone 10 for 19.
This is the one guy that has really consistently done it for the Indians this year. Even though he started off slowly on the first road trip, he's reached safely in 14 of the last 21 plate appearances.
That's like Little League numbers.
Yeah, it is. And remember, he missed first base yesterday on the first time.
Yeah.
Or that would have counted. He did get the run home.
Fouled back.
But he has really tightened down his strike zone compared to early. And he's putting a good swing on the baseball. And he is quietly becoming one of your better players in the league with the best that people don't know about, really. Got a very good arm. He runs the bases very well. Can hit for power, average, and he's got a very good eye at the plate.
There's a solid line drive into right center. It's going to be cut off by Kotze. Coming around third and scoring is Cabrera. Sizemore goes to third, and the Indians have a 1-0 lead as Choo delivers again for the Indians.
And he stays hot. I mean, a nice short line drive stroke. Now runners are at the corner, so the Indians will take the early lead. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. That pitch was right there, belt high, middle of the plate. And the way he's swinging the bat, you're not going to get that pitch by him. Kotze comes in, one hops him. Not before Cabrera can score. Sizemore can go to third, and the Indians will play from in front today.
Pitching coach Don Cooper out for Chicago. Now headed back to the dugout.
You know, all 5 of their victories this year have been come from behind wins. The Indians. So today, let's play from in front.
11 out of 20 for Choo now during his 7-game hitting streak. Well, it'd be nice to get Johnny Peralta going. May have started showing some signs yesterday of coming out of his slump. As Floyd delivers, and a swing and a miss by Peralta. Hitting, like a lot of things, doesn't change overnight usually. And what Peralta has been trying to get back to is working the middle of the field. And so at least his outs yesterday, he was trying to drive the ball up the middle.
He should. I mean, that's when he is swinging the bat well. That's what he uses the other way. He's really pulling off everything, and he swings at the breaking ball away because his front side collapses. And what he does, he's out front, and he's got no leverage on the back part of his leg or anything like that. He has good numbers against Floyd in his career, but when you're swinging poorly, it doesn't matter who you're facing.
So that tells you, again, this is what we've talked about before, seeing the ball. He's not picking it up right away.
Well, I'm sure. He's not seeing the ball very well, and he's just going out as he's just
feeling for it rather
exactly. He's just in a bad rhythm, and I'm sure mentally, he knows that normally he doesn't get off to a good start in April. Well, now when people write about it and they talk about it, it's not like he's not working to try and get out of it. It's just starting to build up, and it's been about 5 or 6 straight years that this has happened to him in April.
Swung out and missed. Floyd records the first out here in the first inning. Indians at the corners, and now 1 down for Matt Laporta.
Take a look at Gavin Floyd's numbers this year. In his only start, he's been a victim of no run support, is what this guy. He's pitched well. He received 1 run against the Indians in his first start. In his last outing in Toronto, there were no hit for 7 or 8 innings. And then he came out of the game losing 4-0. So, he hasn't had much run support. He's gone out there and pitched very well, though.
And Matt Laporta looks at a ball down, though.
You look at the first 3 guys. He had Cabrera down 1-2. Who get the double. He had Grady down 1-2, who ended up walking. He had Choo down 0-2. So he had opportunities to put hitters away, and he couldn't do it.
Laporta takes a strike, and the count is 1-1. Yesterday, late in the ball game, when Ozzie Guillen had Matt Thornton pitching, Guillen was asked after the ball game about some of the matchups, and Guillen said, well, you know, I was looking at the Indians lineup card. I know they had Kearns on the bench. Laporta fouls it back, and he said they have that kid Matola. And the reporter said, who's Matola? He said, you know, the guy at first base. And then he referred to him as the fat kid, the fat guy at first base, you know, the big guy.
That's okay. Ozzie, he doesn't remember names. He's the one that called the Minnesota Twins the piranha. The piranha. He's beautiful. He's good for some quotes throughout the course of the year. Of course, I'm sure Matt Laporta didn't take any ribbing in that clubhouse today.
They were all over him. Enough to make a guy feel self-conscious. What do you mean I'm fat? I'm not fat. What are you talking about, huh?
It's all in good fun.
So Matt Laporta with a chance here, though, to add to the Indians' lead. You've got
this is his way to pay him back.
Yeah. Check the swing. And Jerry Lane rings him up. 2 down. So an opportunity for the Indians to add to the lead here, but they're letting it slip away. And it definitely looked like it went too far.
Well, that's a stinker right off the get-go. That was so close.
Luis Balbuena with Indians at the corners and 2 down. And takes the ball outside. Balbuena has gone 2 out of 6 in the series.
Well, if Gavin Floyd can get out of this and keep it a 1-run ball game, that would be a good job on his part. After the first 3 had reached base, he's got back-to-back strikeouts. Now you're really stretching, trying to go with the old fake to third and get him at first.
Well, it looked like he almost had him. Chu
broke a little bit, but
taking off a little bit.
If you're not stealing the base, you have time to recover. I think the last time I saw that work, Manny Ramirez was on this team, and he was the first base runner.
Pitch is outside 2-0. I guess what you're hoping for there, if you're the pitcher or the team putting the play on, is that runner at first is just going to go on first movement with a right-handed pitcher.
Well, yes, but, you know, at first base, the coach says, all right, make sure he goes to the plate, even if you're running. Don't let him go first to third. They're telling you that. But, you know, even if you're told, things happen. They tell them time and time again when they're on first base, nobody out, that don't let the second baseman tag you, and I'll be darned if they don't run right into it.
Balbuena hit a 2-run homer in the series opener. Looks at the ball inside. 3-0. There's Mark Grudzielanek waiting on deck with 2 down. Indians at the corners. And a 3-0 pitch. Right down Broadway. And it's ball 4, so the bases are loaded. And right-handed hitting Mark Grudzielanek will be the batter.
Let's set that White Sox defense for you. They have made 6 errors on the year. It's Pierre, Rios, and Kotsay in the outfield. On the infield, Vizquel, Ramirez, Beckham, Konerko, with A.J. Przinsky behind the plate.
So Mark Grudzielanek trying to be the 2-out hero here in the first. Indians already have a 1-0 lead, but they have piled up a ton of 2-out runs already this year. Floyd's pitch, line to right field. That's a base hit. Here comes Sizemore. Chew around third. He's going to score as Kotze dropped the ball, and now on his way to third is Valbuena. And it's a 3-0 Indians lead here in the first inning. Mark Grudzielanek snapping an 0 for 10 skig. Picks up his first RBIs as a Cleveland Indian.
Well, another 2-out base hit by the Cleveland offense. And those things are beautiful, boy. They let everybody else on that team relax. Grudzielanek, perfect timing. After they walk Valbuena, he steps up, and that's his stroke right there. A nice short stroke. Kotze couldn't handle it. He tried to rush it a little bit. Two were going to score anyway. So it is now a 3-0 game and a chance to add to that.
Mike Redmond doing the catching today and batting 8th. Low and away, a nice backhanded stab by Przinsky. Now Floyd. Back to the mound. Nicely done by Floyd to get out of the inning. But the Indians get a 3 spot and lead it 3-0 after an inning of play. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by Subway. Play hard, eat fresh. By Continental Airlines, a proud sponsor of the Cleveland Indians. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. And your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Now you'll be seeing some beautiful shots downtown Cleveland, courtesy of the Goodyear blimp today. Spirit of Goodyear hovering overhead. Piloted today by Jerry Hissam. And camera being operated today by Josh Miller. Fausto Carmona handed a 3-0 lead here in the second inning. H.A. Przinsky, Alex Rios, and Mark Teahan for Chicago. Przinsky with a liner to second, and that's one quick out. Don't forget, new Fuel Max tires help you get there on less gas. Calculate your savings at GoodyearTires.com. That thing's really moving, isn't it?
That goes about 20, 25 miles an hour. That wind may be pushing a little bit up there.
Yeah.
It doesn't go as fast as you think.
I mean, from my perch, though, it looks like it's humming right across the sky. The weatherman says we'll have some clearing before the ball game is over. It's cloudy, gray, and drizzling when we arrived here at the ballpark this morning. Final game of the homestand. as the Indians have gone 3-2 thus far. Rios bangs it foul, wide of third. And the Tribe trying to run their win streak to 4 in a row, and in doing so would even their record at 6-6 on the year. Just looks like it's floating, doesn't it? Like it's out at sea, floating on the waves.
Yeah, drifting away.
Strike called. Good pitch by Carmona. And he's ahead in the count now, 1-2. Minnesota came into today leading the AL Central with a record of 9-3. Tigers second at 6-5 after they lost last night. They've now dropped 3 in a row. Just missed 2-2. Then the Indians at 5-6, followed by the 4-7 Royals, and then the White Sox bringing up the rear at 4-8. The 2-2. Swung on and missed, and he has really done a nice job early, Rick, with the off-speed pitcher. You think of him as just that hard sinker, but maybe showing the White Sox a little wrinkle now.
Well, I talked to Mike Redmond about it. He says, look, he just wants Carmona to throw strikes. He doesn't care whether it's the changeup. He's not going to get caught up in having him throw all of his pitches. But he may have a feel for it right now on some of the better hitters. Mike's just going to go with what feels right when he can throw strikes. It's not, it's not rocket science back there. Let me get my guy, let me pitch ahead in the count and let his natural movement take over, and that's a pretty good idea.
Missed down low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Carmona fires, and a hard ground ball to third, kicking off the glove of Peralta, and Tien will be safe at first with 2 down.
Sure, that'll go as a base hit. That's a tough ball that spins off the bat of a left-hander. It's got a little rotation. It's going to, once it hits, it'll have some spin going away from him, and that's one reason why he wasn't able to field it cleanly. See, that ball had good movement, so it's going to have that spin going toward the line. Now, on the backhand side, Peralta came, and that ball just jumped up and got it off the glove. So a 2-out base hit, and
nice little hand for Omar Vizquel. Runner goes, first pitch, called strike, throw to second, and I mean, they nailed him. Not even close. Mike Redmond guns down Mark Tien. And that's the end of the second inning for Chicago. Tribe on top, 3-0. Now it's a 3-0 Indians lead here as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Michael Brantley as Drupal Cabrera and Grady Sizemore will bat for the Tribe. Gavin Floyd delivers outside for ball one.
I'd like to wish a happy belated 92nd birthday to Gene Johnson out in Brunswick, Ohio. Gene, happy belated 92nd.
Strike to the outside corner. 2-1 to count. Well, belated or not, still nice to have those birthday wishes going out. Pitch over but low. I was watching something on the Baseball Network last night about Phil Rizzuto, and they were talking about how even the guy would hit a pop fly to right field, and he'd sneak a birthday wish in during the fly ball.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The scooter.
Yeah, it'd be like a pop fly to left, and he said, "And by the way, happy birthday wishes." He'd send them out there before the ball was caught.
Well, he knew he had time.
He was terrific. A little bit high with the heat. Michael Brantley with that good eye has a leadoff walk. Third walk already issued by Gavin Floyd. Well, hey, don't forget, when the Indians hit a home run here in the month of April, STO, WTM, and HH Gregg are giving away free HD TVs. And our first contestant today is Kent Huffman Jr. of Deerfield, Ohio. If you're not registered, log on to STOHD.com right now. And for a second chance to win, listen to Wills and Snyder tomorrow morning on News Radio WTAM 1100 at 7:11 a.m. Cabrera bouncing ball by Konerko. Brantley hits second. He's going to fly into third easily. Indians at the corners with nobody out here in the second inning.
Boy, exactly how the first inning started. Runners at the corners that had one in, and Floyd, he doesn't have as good control today because he has had 6 hitters where it's been 4 or more pitches. And then what happens? He tries to get ahead here. Cabrera jumps on the first pitch, finds a hole between first and second. And you have runners at the corners again for the middle part of your lineup. So a good start for this offense today against Gavin Floyd.
Grady Sizemore walked and scored in the first inning. Tried to hold up, but he went around.
That's the pitch he tried to get him to swing at in the first at-bat after he was ahead of him. And I think that's the one big thing. In the first 3 hitters, he had opportunities to put those guys away, and they all reached. Then he settled in and struck out a pair, and then he walked his second, gave up a base hit. So they're really making him work hard early in this game.
In the dirt, Przinski smothers it. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Sean Carroll checking in with us, Rick, on Facebook today, saying that the sun just came out in Sandusky. So he says, hang in. It's coming our way. We'll have some clearing skies here. A little better weather maybe by the time this is over.
Does he have a time? I mean, he's telling us about it. Let me know what time it is.
Inside, he missed. Also, Jim Tellep wanted to know how many people took advantage of that offer after the Cavs game ended yesterday, and they tell us over 1,100.
1,100, that is correct. Yes, they did.
After the Cavs game ended, if you showed your Cavs game ticket, you got in to Progressive Field for $5. And all those folks got to see the Indians come from behind and win the game.
Yeah, it was a good stop.
They got here right at the perfect time.
Got to see a doubleheader win against the Chicago
Bulls and the Chicago White Sox.
Exactly.
In fact, Ozzie Guillen, somebody told me he twittered last night, it's a good thing the Browns weren't playing the Bears. The Bears might have gotten their butts kicked too. Indians at the corners, nobody out. And a throw over to first, almost sailed wide, of Paul Konerko. Gavin Floyd just has not been able to find any kind of a rhythm here in the early going. This will already be his 45th pitch, and there's nobody out in the second inning. in the dirt, and a good block by Krasinski, but he can't keep Cabrera from going to second.
That's great base running, because when you have a man on third base and that ball goes in the dirt, the first thing Krasinski has to do is look the man back at third before he can worry about it. Cabrera just took off. It's a very heads-up play. You see, it didn't get that far away, but you see he's running. Now he's really got to look back at third base. Great play. You get yourself in a scoring position. You take the double play away. That's something you like to see more base runners do in situations like that.
Second time this year, an Indians base runner has blown a belt out, and Sandy Alomar quick to offer his own belt in support.
Was it Cabrera the first time, too? He did it the
might have
last.
been,
It
wasn't
was.
it? Yeah. Now Sandy's got to try to work his dribbles belt. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, Sandy might have been able to do that in 1990, but not now.
Second and third now, nobody out. Infield in, 3-2 pitch. Ball 4, and they're loaded again for the Indians. And now that White Sox bullpen is going to get busy. Been a rough start already here for Gavin Floyd. Don Cooper on the horn. Some stirring down in the bullpen for Chicago. But it's going to be Shin-Soo Choo, who got the Indians on the board in the first inning with an RBI single, coming to bat here with the bases filled with Indians runners. Missed wide with it, ball 1. Choo trying to really put some distance between the Indians and White Sox here early in this game. There's a high drive, deep right center field, way back in it, gone! A grand slam for Shin-Soo Choo. And a 7-0 Indians lead.
How hot is Shin-Soo Choo?
Well, 12 for 21 for starters during his 7-game hitting streak.
That's the second slam for the Indians this year. There's only 4 now in all of baseball, and the Indians have half of them. Second career grand slam for Choo, and watch him. He makes him pay. Breaking ball out over the plate. Some swinging room, and look at Cabrera at second base.
Exactly.
He knew it. As soon as it leaves the bat, Choo knows it. I think everybody in the ballpark knew it. It's a 7-0 Indians lead.
His first career grand slam since. He took Josh Beckett deep for a slam. So Choo with a pair of grand slams now on his resume. Johnny Peralta looks at a strike, and it's quickly 0-2. And now Peralta spanks it into left field, and Gavin Floyd just does not have it here today. And the Indians have taken full advantage. You know, it's one thing, Rick, when you got a guy who's scuffling, but you let him off the hook and you let him stick around. They didn't do that today.
Well, not today, no, because Floyd is breaking balls are up. He hasn't been able to control the two-seamer when he has been ahead of hitters. They've been back into the counts. He has 4 walks. You're right. It's one of those days, and it's something that, they did not need today. After losing the first two games in this series by 1 run, it's time, the Indians' offense is starting to peck away. 6 hits, 7 runs, and we are just in the second inning. And out comes Guillen. He is going to make the call.
So Gavin Floyd departs after 1 inning of work, plus 5 batters. Tagged with 7 runs, and he's still responsible for that man at first base. So disappointing day for Gavin Floyd, but the Indians, all smiles for the Tribes. 7-0 second inning. 7-zip Indians, and we're only in the second inning. Gavin Floyd out, and Ozzie Guillen already into his bullpen as Tony Pena coming on for the fourth time this year.
Well, they're going to have to. Someone's going to have to eat up some innings today for the White Sox. Floyd today, through 51 pitches, left-handed batters have scored 7 runs, 5 ribbies. They were 4 for 4 with 4 walks off Gavin Floyd today. So the lefties did the damage.
Matt Laporta will bat with a runner at first, nobody out. Bouncer to short. This should be a double play, and it is.
Well, it's a new Pepsi 12 pack. 12 tickets to 12 biggest games of the season, including the Yankees, Red Sox, and Reds. Plans start at $256. That's a steal. It's just $21 per game. Pepsi 12 packs now on sale. 216-420-HITS or visit Indians.com.
Balbuena drew a walk his first time up. This time he looks at a first pitch strike from Tony Pena. And a slow chopper foul. Daniel Cowgill checking in with us. Rick said, I think I remember Cabrera, as Drupal Cabrera, breaking a couple of belts in the first few weeks last season. He wants to know if there's a sabermetric stat for that.
Well, there will be.
I just want to see if Sandy's going to be able to run back to the dugout without
what he's going to do.
Holding his pants up.
You know what Tony's going to do? He's going to give him a belt to keep in his back pocket from now on. You know, when he gets over there, he'll have extra belts on. Either that or we'll get him a pair of suspenders.
Oh, during the pitching change, we didn't notice it, Rick, but they brought him a new belt. So,
you know, it doesn't take long. We've got to have somewhere for the stopwatch there. We'll have to get him some suspenders, and he'll have belts in his back pocket.
He just needs what are those things in the pants? The adjustable pants on the inside. You can pull them tight.
Adjustables? Yeah. I know a couple guys that wear adjustable pants.
Balbuena grounds to Konerko, and the inning is over. But Shin-Soo Choo with his second career grand slam as the Tribe comfortably in front 7-0. Omar Vizquel, who was batting when Mark Teahan was thrown out trying to steal to end the second inning, will lead off the third for Chicago. Omar, one hit on the year, but that one hit has him now in 60th place on baseball's all-time hit list with 2,705
I was going to say,
hits.
he probably won't get to 3,000. It would have been nice to see him get there. But now, just an extra guy, he's not going to have the at-bats. And, you know, the longevity, who knows, though, with this guy. He's in great shape. He's going to be, 43 in May, right?
He just doesn't look like he's aged.
I mean, he still has a set of hands about as good as anybody defensively.
I mean, I know the physical skills start to diminish, you know, at certain age points. But when you look at him, I mean, talking about passing the eye test, he doesn't look much different than he did when he was in his prime here. A little less hair, but then again, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Strike three called. Fausto locked him up for his second strikeout today, one down. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're watching Cleveland Indians baseball. Alexei Ramirez, White Sox shortstop, takes a strike. Ramirez, like Grady Sizemore, has struggled against left-handed pitching this year, but that's unusual because he's a right-handed hitter. But he's just 1 for 16 against the lefties this year, but 6 for 23 against the right-handed pitching.
Well, this guy used to wear left-handers out. Yeah, not very good. Well, you know, you see
Struck
teams
him out looking.
back-to-back called strikeouts.
2 down. Let's take a quick spin down on the farm and check out our Subway fresh face of the game. Johan Pino outpitched Aroldis Chapman yesterday. Went 7 innings, did not allow a run, 6 punch-outs as Columbus beat Louisville 3-1. Aroldis Chapman still having trouble with his command. He walked, I think, 4 or 5 in his outing yesterday. Didn't give up many hits or runs, but Juan Pierre, base hit his first time up. Slugs this one to deep center field. Grady Sizemore dives and makes a sensational catch. Oh, Grady Sizemore taking extra bags from Juan Pierre. And a dazzling performance here in the third has the Tribe in front 7-0. Grady Sizemore with a terrific catch to end the inning.
Well, I noticed when he was coming in and Pierre was standing out there around second base, he said something to Grady. That was a nice play.
One ball and one strike. And when you say that, you mean you interpreted that to be something complimentary, not derogatory.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, somebody at home might be thinking,
thanks a lot. Then don't hit one to left field because I'm going to take it from you. I don't mean derogatory. No way. I mean, that's just the talk that, you make a great play and steal a base hit from a hitter. Pierre might have said, yeah, thanks a lot. I need that, man. I needed that hit. Who knows? We can find out. We'll ask Grady afterwards.
Popped him up. Ramirez, the shortstop. One down. Well, you talk about, we hear people talk about leadership. And we've talked many times before. Grady Sizemore is not, never will be a vocal leader, a guy who's going to stand in front of the clubhouse and give any kind of a pep talk. But what he always has done is he leads by example, and there's a great example of that, and shows little regard for his body, laying out and making a great play.
I mean, he just plays the game
but
one way.
He does it every day.
He does it, yeah. He plays the game one way. That's the only way he knows how to play that game. And any ball that's hit out in the alley, if it has some air underneath it, there's a pretty good chance he's going to catch up to it and give it at least a good attempt if he doesn't catch it. I mean, this was almost just like perfect timing. He was playing him over in left center. Now, Pierre never hits the ball this hard, rarely. But, there was a mistake by Carmona, and Grady just catches up to it and outruns it. Carmona says, thank you very much. That's why when you're a pitcher and you let the guy see, that was a mistake pitch by Carmona that was drilled, but it was an out. So he got away with a mistake, and that shows you, hey, maybe if I do let these guys hit the ball, good things will happen defensively.
Another thing you hear as a fan, when your best player hustles all the time and he plays all out, it has a great effect on the rest of the
wears off.
Why?
Why? Because he's out there doing it every day. Your best player is, and if he can do it, then your worst player better be able to do that or you won't be around.
2 down as Redmond flies to deep right and Michael Brantley steps in.
Well, it will be the first post-game fireworks show of the season when the Tribe takes on the Tigers Friday, May 7th. We'll be off this West Coast trip, and fans will enjoy a spectacular fireworks display synchronized to the Billboard Top 100 Alternative Songs. And it's also half-price student ID night as well.
Michael Brantley backs away from ball 1.
Anytime your best player, and I don't care whatever sport it's in, does it one way, you better follow and do it the exact same way.
I guess it comes back to the old theory of setting the tone. Yeah. This is the way we do things.
That's exactly right. This is the way it should be done, and you play hard and you leave it on the field.
I mean, that's the way Derek Jeter has always been portrayed in New York.
Bingo. He's not a vocal guy.
He's not going to yap a whole bunch.
No, and you know what? That vocal leadership and everything, it's blown out of proportion. But what I do believe is that players control the clubhouse. In Grady Sizemore's quiet way, he can get anybody in that clubhouse to do what he wants them to do. Whether he stands up and yells, which he would never do, or you just go about doing business in your own way. He can go up and talk to somebody.
1, 2, 3 go the Indians here in the third, but it's the Tribe 7 and the Sox nothing. 7-0. Indians over the White Sox with Gordon Beckham, Mark Kotze, and Paul Konerko coming to the plate here against Fausto Carmona. And Fausto with the first pitch strike to Gordon Beckham. Taps at foul, 0-2. Beckham has 9 strikeouts so far in the year, tied for the team lead with Andrew Jones in that category.
Well, I think the White Sox are going to be happy to get rid of the Indians. You know, we opened up the season in Chicago, and they've just had a tough time hitting their pitcher. They're saying, hey, let us go somewhere else and try somebody else. Right now, it's not working. You know, and that happens. I mean, they went out and they beat the Indians last year over the course of the season. And, you know, the Indians have struggled against Detroit and, you know, in the division. But, you know, there's certain times when you're in the division, we're going to see these guys 18 times. And they're about ready to move on right now for round 1.
Now the 1-2 pitch. Hard grounder to third. Johnny Peralta. Good strong throw, 1 down. By the way, that grand slam that Shin-Soo Choo hit in the 2nd inning means that Kent Huffman Jr. from Deerfield, Ohio, has won a free HD TV courtesy of STO, WTAM, and HH Gray.
Like you said earlier, when we were in Detroit and Valbuena hit that first inning home run off Verlander, it should account for more. That's a bonus.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see if HG's got the headsets or something you can get for a salami.
You need one of those.
I mean, that's the big. It doesn't get any better than driving in 4 with one swing of the bat.
You need the DVR recorder or something.
Ooh,
yeah.
Very good.
1-0 pitch. Listen to us making all the decisions. It's not our money. Oh, Laporta couldn't find the handle. He recovers just in time to get
Stay
him.
with it.
Well, Mark Kotze retired, 2 down.
Stay with it. I mean, he booted it and bobbled it and then finally picked it up and gives the backhand. But Carmona was there. Carmona didn't give up on it. He waited and waited, and he could have got over there and stretched. And whoopsie, put a fork in it. We got it.
2 away now for Paul Konerko. Our next contestant, by the way, in the HD TV home run giveaway is Gail Schwartz from University Heights. Konerko cuts and misses. The Indians go deep again today. Gail Schwartz of University Heights will win a free HD TV. You know, Carmona, and again, I don't know how much of this is that old theory of, you know, rubbing off one guy to the next. But coming into this inning, Carmona, 7 Chicago hitters, 3 pitches or less.
Well, you got to like it. I mean, they sit in that dugout and they watch the game, they watch the series, and they see that if guys are going to be aggressive, if you can get ahead of strike 1, that is the key to pitching. This is a sinker ball staff for the most part. No power arms. You move the ball in and out, you change speeds, there's a pretty good chance you can get them to follow the leader. I mean, in this series, Talbot had 17 ground ball outs. Yesterday, Westbrook had 11. Game before that, Huff had 10 against Texas to start this string. And, yeah, just let him swing the bat and put it in play like that.
Little tapper right back to the hill. Carmona with an easy 4th inning. He's retired 6 White Sox hitters in a row. 7-0 Cleveland. Indians 7, White Sox nothing. Bottom of the fourth is Dribble Cabrera, Grady Sizemore, and Shin Soo Choo as Fausto Carmona locked in right now, just mowing them down. As Dribble Cabrera 2 for 2, a double, a single, 2 runs scored.
You know, it was amazing, that shot in the dugout. And I mean, it's not a real warm day out here, but Carmona sitting there with no jacket on. You have guys in the dead heat of summer come in there and they cover their right arm. Carmona's sitting there with no sleeves, just in the dugout. Although I'm sure the dugouts have heat. They
do have those overhead heaters.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And he's one of those guys, you know, sometimes in the summer, that hat is drenched with
sweat. Sweat hog.
You were a sweat hog on opening day. Remember how hot it was in Chicago?
Well,
it was broiling in our booth.
Yeah, it was. Well, and then you get under the TV lights. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, sweat.
Thought you were going to need a backup shirt day one. 3-0 pitch to Cabrera.
I wish it was still like that.
He takes a strike.
Yeah, you see? Chile, you got to, well, they're smart. They bring the blanket, so it's comfortable.
They came prepared.
They've got plenty of room on the bleachers to sit and enjoy a ball game.
Ball 4. That's the first hitter that's reached against Tony Pena.
Well, AM, PM, all-you-can-eat seats are back for 2010. You spend the entire game enjoying unlimited hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, popcorn, and Pepsi products for just $32 a ticket. Get them at Indians.com.
Grady Sizemore, 2 walks, 2 runs scored. And he takes a strike.
Yeah, the Indians have walked 5 times today. And out of their 5 walks, 3 of them have come around to score. Grady scored twice on both walks. Brantley was another one that led off the second. Scored on Chu's grand slam.
Did he go? And third base umpire Hunter Wendelstadt said Sizemore went too far. Why do you suppose Hunter Wendelstadt needs sunglasses on a day like this?
Because sun might come out. He heard that that guy from Sandusky saying it was out.
Got the lights on here, but
he was calling over at the amusement park. Found out that the sun's out.
Here's the 0-2. In the dirt, Przynski with a good block. Be riding the roller coasters before too long at Cedar Point.
Yes, indeed. They have another new one this year, probably. I saw a shot on TV. I wasn't listening or paying attention, but I don't know. I just saw it look scary, and if I just figured it was Cedar Point.
Well, unless they start building the rides out onto the lake, I don't know where else they can put them. They've got so many great rides. 1-2 pitch. Too high, 2-2.
How about that ball game last night in Atlanta, Colorado?
Just gonna ask you about
a no-hitter.
Menace. I don't know what was more kind of jaw-dropping, that or the marathon played at Busch Stadium.
I think the no-hitter. Would he have 6 walks? But I mean, he had 120-some pitches and first no-hitter in Rockies history.
Not in time at first. Sizemore beats it out. 1 away as Cabrera erased on the fielder's choice. Let's take a look at what happened in Atlanta.
There's now only 3 teams left that have never pitched a no-hitter. And there was
this is a great play.
Yes, it was. Fowler makes the great catch. That's a backhanded side and gets McCann to ground out to second base. The only 3 teams that have yet to throw a no-hitter are the Rays, the Mets, and the Padres. So the Rockies erased their name from the list. Congratulations. That's always fun, although he did walk 6, but still a no-hitter's a no-hitter. That guy's got great stuff, too. His last pitch was 97.
Shin Soo Choo, what a day he's had. Already 5 ribbies and an RBI single and a grand slam. They could have used him last night at Busch Stadium. The Mets and Cardinals went 18 innings with no runs. Scoreless for 18 innings.
Right. And then the Mets scored, the Cardinals tied it.
And then the Mets
and
won
then
in
the Mets
the 20th.
came back in the 20 innings. That's the longest game in, what was it, 03, I believe it was? 20-inning game.
Well, what was interesting to me as the pitch to Chu is up high is that the Mets played an 18-inning scoreless tie against the Phillies in 1965.
That's hard to do, 0-0.
And they lost 1-0 to the Astros in 24 innings in 1968.
Wow. Longest game I ever played in was against the White Sox.
I remember
we were with Milwaukee, 1983, and I think it was in May. It was 26 innings.
I was leading you to that because last night 3 Mets went 0 for 7. And the last Major League game in which 3 teammates were each hitless and at least 7 at-bats was in 1977. When Warren Cromartie, Chris Spire, and Del Unser all
Montreal.
went 0 for. Yeah.
Del Unser did?
Yep.
That's my golf buddy in the winter. I got to tell him about that.
The Mets beat the Expos 7-5 in 17 innings, but Warren Cromartie of Montreal, Chris Spire, both went 0 for 8, and Del Unser went 0 for 7.
Wow.
You guys, you didn't have any. Obviously, you didn't have
I didn't
anybody.
even start the game, and I was 0 for 7, I think. I never came into about the 11th inning in that game, and I had 7 at-bats.
2 on for the Tribe, 1 out here in the 4th. Indians on top, 7-0.
Oh, Tommy's going to go online. He'll
look it up.
He probably will.
Johnny Peralta takes a strike.
He's tired today. He's got a hangover from the Cavs and the Indians yesterday.
35th pitch here for Tony Pena, who came on in relief in the 2nd inning. Pops it foul out of play, does Johnny Peralta, whose base hit in the 2nd inning stopped an 0 for 15 slump. And fouled away. 0-2 the count, with 2 aboard and 1 out here in the 4th inning. Stephen Pewar checking in, Rick. He says that the ride you're referring to at Cedar Point, the new one this year, is called Shoot the Rapids. It's a water ride
thank
that's
you.
opening this year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. There was a new one out there. I saw an advertising for it.
Nothing gets past you, my friend.
Well, a lot gets past me, but I'll track it down.
Ramirez trying to double him up at second, but Grady able to get back with the dive. 2 down. Let's send you back to the studios right now for this in-game update. Here's Dave Chudowski.
All right, thanks, Matt. We're going to check in on the Rangers at the Yankees. Bottom of 3, Mark Teixeira with his first home run of the season. This off Rich Harden. That tied the game at 2. The Yankees have scored 2 more in the 3rd, and right now it is 4-2 heading to the 4th. Back to you.
Well, Teixeira has been terrible to this point, but normally he is a slow starter as well. Don't get him starting to warm up because the Yankees are playing pretty good baseball this year early.
Matt Laporta with a foul, got a piece of it. You're right, Teixeira and A-Rod both off to slow starts.
I think the Yankees are like the Twins where they're winning their first 4 series that they played this year.
Yankees trying to win their 4th straight, like the Indians. There's the 0-1. Got the outside corner. It's nice to see, though, that it's not just the Indians who have former players that come back and beat up on them.
That happens throughout baseball. That happens throughout the game. You know, the way guys move nowadays, it's
You're always going to be playing
common
against somebody.
Exactly. Whether you drafted him, you traded him, he signed as a free agent somewhere else, they're always going to come back. That's the nature of the game now with the way players move.
Up and in off the glove of Pierzynski, and
maybe a
runners
pass ball.
Move up. It sure looked like it, Rick.
Well, he got a glove on it, but I mean he's got glasses on too. But this ball did get away from Pena. Let's take a look at it again. That ball's up. They will give him a wild pitch.
Still 2 down, and Matt Laporta in a 1-2 hole. He's 0 for 2 today. Stays alive on the foul back to the screen. Didn't take long for the research guys to come up with the.
I told you it wouldn't.
1-2 pitch, little tapper foul.
Oh, here we go. In between innings, we'll give you this stuff later.
May 8th, 1984, a 25-inning game. You came on in the 12th inning for Bobby Clark, and you went 2 for 6. You had a fine afternoon. That's a 3.33 average.
See, I always forget.
Both teams scored 3 runs in the 21st inning to keep it going.
Yeah. 21st, and then we scored, I think it was 2 in the 25th, and they came back and got 3. Harold Baines hit a 3-run homer.
Unbelievable.
Or a 2-run homer, one of the two. I don't know.
Laporta strikes out, inning over. We've played 4. It's the Indians 7 and the White Sox nothing. And by Panini's. Panini's Bar and Grills are expanding. Visit paninisgrill.com for a list of new locations opening this year. Seven-zip, Indians on top. A.J. Pierzynski with a foul ball, and he's 0 for 1 so far today. Fausto Carmona has retired 6 in a row. He has struck out 3, not walked a batter. That's always a good sign when you can watch Carmona. Now, in his defense, we thought that first game of the year that he pitched in Chicago, the strike zone was brutal. And it wasn't just for him. It was both sides.
And it was cold that night. No, it was a floating strike zone. You're right. He walked 6. And he only gave up the 1 hit in that ball game, and that was a Konerko home run back in the first inning. He ended up giving up 3 runs because Pierre ended up stealing the base, scoring on a sac fly.
Luis Valbuena will throw out Pierzynski here. 1 away. Beginning tomorrow at noon, you'll be able to call the Channel 3 phone bank and make an appointment for free medical care. As part of our Hero Central campaign, we're teaming up with MedWorks for our second annual free medical, dental, and vision clinic May 1st. But you need to register by calling our phone bank tomorrow. Log on to WKYC.com for more information. Alex Rios lines a singer to center field. And a one-out base runner for the Sox here in the 5th. So that's a great idea. Log on to WKYC.com. Get all the info and then call the Channel 3 phone bank tomorrow and make an appointment. Fausto Carmona, his next pitch will be his 50th. The White Sox have already combined for 94 pitches today. But the reason for that, we pointed out earlier, efficiency. Most of the hitters he's faced today have been 3 pitches or less.
Yeah, and the thing, it's tough for Carmona because for a lot of hitters against him, unlike, let's say, Talbot or maybe David Huff or Jake, tough to center on his ball. So you'll see a lot of foul balls. Yeah. You know what I mean? They'll top him or they'll foul him off or they'll do something. They want to put him in play. And if that's the case, you will see, like what Rios did right there, get a first pitch base hit. That'll happen sometimes. But for Carmona, you'd love to see him get into that mindset of 3 pitches or less. 9 guys have already done that 3 or less, Tommy. Thank you. Which is great. He's not even through the lineup the second time.
Martin looks, and it's just a little bit low. 2-1 the count. Martin singled off the glove of Johnny Peralta his last time up. Swung on and missed. 2-2 the count. The thing you like today, and granted, the radar gun readings that we see aren't always 100% accurate, but he's thrown some fastballs that have been low 90s, and he's had a lot of swings and misses with them.
It's not how hard you throw. It's location and it's movement. And we know he has the movement. It's just a matter of fine-tuning that location. And, you know, it's not about strikeouts. You don't want strikeouts. When you're a sinker ball pitcher, you want outs on the fewest pitches you can possibly make. Because that way you can stay around, pitch deeper into the ball game, and that's just how these last 3 games went for the Indians. It doesn't get any better than that. 203, 204, and 224 when you're talking time of games.
Popped him up foul. This is going into the seats.
I'd much rather see a guy go out there and pitch and you know, throw 90 to 100 pitches in 7 or 8 innings than a guy that's throwing 120, give me 5 innings, and it's 2-0, 3-1, or deep counts into a lot of hitters. I mean, and it's much easier to play defense. Listen, the Indians' defense is much improved this year compared to what it was last year. And that has a lot to do with it, too. That goes hand in hand. When your starting pitchers are throwing strikes, your guys on defense are ready to make plays. And they have made very good plays this year.
That one scoots through the infield. Rios will stop at second base. First time today the White Sox have had back-to-back hits against Carmona. Well, let's take a look at our GMC 5-star league leaders. In American League innings pitched per start, the Indians are at the top of the list. That's our league leaders, brought to you by the GMC Sierra. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job.
3 out of those 5 teams are Central Division teams.
It's got to have Tim Belcher feeling pretty good here in the first month of the season to see those starters getting deep into ball games.
Well, it certainly helps, yes, especially the way the bullpen started off.
Line to left, going over near the line, won't cut it off. Brantley will try to scoop it out, but the White Sox get on the board here as Rio scores. And it's an RBI double for Omar Vizquel. Just his second hit on the year for the Sox. But he picks up his first run batted in for Chicago, and double number 434 in his career.
Well, watch this little short stroke. That pitch was elevated a little bit, and Omar was just trying to slap the sinker that way. He does. It stayed up. But that ball gets down and stays in fair territory. So Omar will get into second base. It's second and third, one out. The White Sox are on the board.
Alexi Ramirez checks a swing, and a ball shoots into the crowd. Well, now if you're Chicago, too, if they get another hit here, they could pick up a couple more runs, slice their way into this Indians lead, and they'd be right back in the ballgame. Missed low and away. Back to the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, and if you're Ramirez in this situation, your job, they're giving you an RBI here with 1 out. You need a ground ball anywhere. Just get it past the pitcher and you can get a run home. And that would make it a 7-2. Now, if you get a base hit and the ball goes through, then you may drive in a pair, but you've got to get that second one in. That man that's from third base first. No. Oh, thought he might have.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He almost chased after it.
I thought so. Oh, no. He kept it back there.
Carmona working here in the 5th inning. 2-2. Bloop towards center. Going to be a tough play. It's going to drop. It's going to get 1 run in. Vizquel will have to stop at third. Ball kicks away from Redmond, but the runners will not advance. So it's a 7-2 ball game as Alexi Ramirez gets his 4th RBI on the year.
Yeah, does his job, bloops it in there in front of Sizemore and over the head of Valbuena. Not that it was a bad pitch. He just hit it in the right location. So it's 4 straight hits now for the White Sox, and you're going back to the top of the lineup. They have all singles. They have 6 hits. They have 5 singles and the 1 Vizquel double.
Juan Pierre singled in the first. Looked very similar to the hit that Omar just had. Just a little poke shot the other way.
And then was robbed of a base hit by Grady Sizemore in his second at bat.
Yeah, in the 3rd inning, he slugged one just to the right of center field, and Grady made a terrific diving catch. If he doesn't come up with that ball, Pierre would have had at least a triple. Fouled into the dirt. 0-2 the count.
This inning here, Matt, is the first 20-pitch inning that an Indian starter has had in the last 4 games. That's how efficient that they have been.
Well, 4 straight hits by the White Sox in this inning. Some of them have been dinked and dunked, but nonetheless, 4 straight have reached against Carmona. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count on Pierre. Bouncing ball towards second. Valbuena. They get 1 there. The relay, not in time. Oh, it was close. And give Valbuena and Cabrera credit. They knew with Pierre running, they had no time to dawdle, and they nearly turned it. But the White Sox pick up another run, and with 2 down, it's now a 7-3 ball game with a runner at first base.
Yeah, that's a tough way to turn the double play when he pulls it to the right side, because it's not hit 1 hopper. It's a couple hop. Cabrera did everything in his power to get rid of it. Nicely turned, but there again, speed just beats it out. You can see that foot's on the base before the ball went in Laporta's glove. So it adds another run for the White Sox. So they have a 3-run inning to match the Indians' 3-run first. But a good try, good effort.
Gordon Beckham 0 for 2. Looks at a ball inside. Way outside, 2-0, and now Mike Redmond looks like he might want to go out and talk to Carmona just to get him back on track here. Off day tomorrow for the Indians, and then it's back to the road as the Tribe will head to Minneapolis and visit Target Field for the very first time. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll have the first 2 games for you on Sports Time Ohio, both 8 o'clock Eastern Time starts. And then Thursday's getaway day game will not be televised.
I think it might be on the MLB channel.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No.
On Thursday, because we are not televising, but I believe it will be shown.
Well, Bart Swain says no TV, but check your local listings.
Is Bart even here today? Check and see if Bart's here, first of all.
That would be negative.
Okay, there you have it. So why are we listening to Bart?
Runner goes. Throw to second base, and not in time. Juan Pierre, with his second steal of the day, gives him 5 on the year. So man in scoring position with 2 down for Gordon Beckham.
Well, very good jump this time by Pierre, and he gets down and gets into scoring position. And the chance that they take now, another base hit, cut into that lead.
3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, this is now he's there. They really have him working this inning. Those 4 hits in a row has made Fausto work hard to get out through this 5th inning.
He's up to 70 pitches now on the day. And a strike call. Beckham was already headed to first. Full count. So a chance now for Carmona to end the inning. He fires, and it's a little bit high, ball 4. So 2 on, 2 out, and Mark Kotze will be the hitter. And now we're going to get some activity in the Indians bullpen. .28 pitches in the inning for Carmona after he came into this inning with 44 pitches thrown through the first 4 innings combined. Marcotte looks at a ball down low. Carmona might be squeezing it just a little too tight now. Caught the outside edge.
You know, all things considered, even though he's had a tough inning and he's given up 3 runs, he's got to realize, look, I got to minimize the damage here. I can't allow him to any more to get back in after he just walked his first hitter. Come in here, stop the rally, stop this inning, and let your offense go back to work.
Good block by Mike Redmond. And a count 2-1. And that keeps those runners at first and second instead of allowing them to move to second and third.
Nice block. He was able to cradle that ball and keep it in his glove.
Big chopper towards second. Valbuena will throw out Kotze and the inning is over. But the Sox get a 3 spot. And it's a 7-3 Indians lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. once again go to their bullpen for a right-hander. And it's Sergio Santos coming on in relief of Tony Pena.
Did a nice job, Pena. You put zeros on the board, and you try and, when you're down like the Sox were 7-0, all your bullpen can do is try and throw zeros on there in hopes that you can get back into the game. So Pena went 3 innings and did not allow a hit or a run. He struck out 2, walked 2. Now it's up to Santos to try and do the same thing.
Luis Valbuena 0 for 1. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Well, while we have a moment, we want to send along speedy recovery wishes to our good friend Dave Cardwell, who is recovering after surgery at the Cleveland Clinic. Look forward to seeing you up and around, big fella. 0-1. Valbuena thought about a bunt, pulled it back. Tell you what, that Cleveland Clinic is enormous.
Yes, it is.
It's like walking through a maze trying to get from one place to another down there.
Yeah.
But you talk about world-class care, no question about it. 1-1 pitch. It's wide, 2 balls and a strike. Valbuena, then Mark Grudzielanek and Mike Redmond here in the 5th for the Tribe, who leads 7-3, trying to run their win streak to 4 in a row, trying to send the Sox to their 4th straight defeat. Fouled back. Now the Indians failed to get the job done against Detroit. But as you've said so many times in the past, you've got to win in the division if you want to have a chance to win the division. Swung on and missed. And if the Indians can hang on here today, they will have won 5 out of 6 against Chicago to start the year. This recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. Shin-Soo Choo got it started with an RBI single in the 1st. Mark Grudzielanek made it a 3-run first inning with a 2-out, 2-run single. Then in the 2nd inning, Choo with his 2nd career grand slam made it a 7-0 Indians lead. Chicago scratched out 3 runs in the top half of this inning, and that's where we stand. Grudzielanek swings and misses. Slow tapper hit toward short. Ramirez on the move. 2 away. Again, we send you back to the studios for this in-game update. And Dave Chudowski has the latest on the Red Sox and the Rays.
Yeah, Matt, the Rays staying hot, top of 2. Here's Carlos Pena, and there's no question about this one off John Lester. Lester struggling so far this year. The Rays 5-0 on the road coming into this one. Right now, they lead 2-0 in the 3rd.
They always play the Red Sox well, don't they?
Thanks,
they
Dave.
go into Fenway Park, and it doesn't faze them.
Well, there were a lot of people who really jumped on the Tampa Bay wagon this spring, thinking that if they don't win the East, that they are a playoff team this year, that perhaps they secure the wild card berth. And I thought, wow, that's interesting, given that Redmond hits the bag. That's going to be a fair ball. He's going to take a wide turn. He's going to motor for 2. The throw is in time, and they got him. So the inning is over after Mike Redmond tried to turn that one into a double. 5 complete, 7-3 Cleveland. 6th inning here at Progressive Field. Paul Konerko, A.J. Pierzynski, and Alex Rios. 45 degrees at game time with plenty of cloud cover overhead. And pretty good breeze blowing from left to right. And a first pitch strike to Paul Konerko. I'm curious to see how Carmona bounces back after that rocky 5th inning. Up to that point, he was brilliant. But the Sox getting to him for the first time today as they sent 8 men to the plate. And foul tip 0-2.
Now, he needs to come back and have a nice quick inning, and he's ahead of the first hitter in a tough one, 0-2. Come right back and try and settle down. Stop that momentum. Don't let them score again in back-to-back innings, because then they'll think they have a chance.
Two-strike pitch to Konerko. This scoreboard update brought to you by Wendy's. You know when it's real, Wendy's. One-two pitch. Oh, close but missed. And it evens it up.
That ball a little down out of the strike zone. Good pitch, but the good hitters lay off those pitches.
2-2. Swung on and missed. Carmona with his 4th strikeout today. One down here in inning number 6. Aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. New Fuel Max tires help you get there on less gas. Calculate your savings at GoodyearTires.com. Spirit of Goodyear overhead here today, piloted by Jerry Hissem. Camera operated by Josh Miller. Excuse me. A.J. Pierzynski 0 for 2. Pierzynski 0 for 8 in the series. 2 hits in his last 17 at-bats. Taps it foul and came up and bit him.
You know, when you're struggling offensively, this guy's a catcher. You take foul tips, but you certainly don't want to hit balls off your body. Not in this weather.
The 1-2. Bounced it in there. Now, last year, Pierzynski, you remember, he got off to that blistering start.
Yes, he did.
He hit 400 for, seemed like
First
at least
month.
the first month. And they wound up batting 300 for the season.
Which is outstanding. I mean, I think that's the first time he's ever hit 300.
Big bouncer towards second. And Valbuena throws him out. 2 down. Yeah, not only was it his first time, he's the first White Sox catcher ever to bat 300 for a season.
Now, that's hard to believe, but that goes to show you how tough it is to hit 300, especially when you're catching and you're handling pitching staffs.
He did it twice with the
Minnesota,
Twins.
yes. Well, that's different. That's on that turf. That was a little different. I think you could hit with a little better average there, but very impressive. He's a durable guy. He plays every game. He's a competitor. Matter of fact, in that game where they were getting no hit in Toronto for 7 innings, he led off the 8th inning in that ball game, and there was a ball that was thrown between his feet. He acted like the ball hit him, and I don't really think it did. Ended up getting on first base. Alex Rios went deep, the next guy. So there was the no-hitter. But then again, controversy follows that guy right there.
He's an irritant. He's one of those guys that just gets under your skin when he plays against you.
You love him when he's on your team.
Yep.
You hate him when you play against him. But whether you like him or you dislike him, he's a heck of a ball player.
Alex Rios, 1 out of 2, singled and scored in the 5th inning. 2-1 pitch. Low. 3 balls and a strike. The 3-1. And he lost him. So a 2-out walk. Just the second free pass issued by Carmona today.
Well, the new Around the Horn ticket package gives you the chance to catch a game at each Indians local minor league affiliate. Plus, it's a Tribe game at Progressive Field. Get 2 tickets to see the Arrows, the Akron Arrows, the Lake County Captains, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, and the Indians, along with special food and beverage offers for just $74. Log on to Indians.com for full details. That's pretty nice, isn't it? You get to see most every affiliate.
There's a lot of good reasons to go out and watch them, too.
Right. I mean, there's some good players down there in the minor leagues. Get to see them before they get up here, which may not be long.
Lonnie Chisenhall tearing it up for Akron, swinging the bat very well. Who's the DH down there that we featured? Matt McBride?
Yeah, Caterpillar.
Now the 1-0. Outside, and now Mike Redmond going to go talk to Carmona. We do have activity in the Indians bullpen as you see Aaron Laffey loosening. Carmona at 93 pitches on the afternoon. The batter will be Mark Teahan, who is 2 for 2. 2 singles and a run scored against Carmona. Teahan really locked in. I mean, he started, granted, it's only 10 at-bats, but he was hitless in his first 10 at-bats to start the year. Since that 0 for 10, he's 8 for 19. And as all hitters have told me over the years, and I know you can attest to this, you want to try to limit those offers and ride the hot streaks as long as you can.
Well,
You're going to have slumps.
Yeah, you minimize your streaks where when you're not swinging the bat very well, if you can draw a couple of walks here and there or move runners or sacrifice people over and then, take advantage of your good hot streaks. What you don't want is a 1 for 30, and a lot of hitters go through that. Those type of slumps where you just can't find a hit, but you seem to swing at everything in place.
Nice stop by Laporta, and he finds the handle and goes to the bag to end the inning. Middle of the 6th, it's the Indians 7 and the White Sox 3. Well, they're bundled up here today. It's not frigid, mind you, but we've been teased with that warm weather here lately, so it feels worse than the 45 degrees we had at game time. Fausto Carmona, his day over, 96 pitches, 6 innings of work, and really only the 5th inning, a blemish on his mark here today. New pitcher now for Chicago as well. Left-hander Randy Williams coming on. He'll face Michael Brantley, left-handed hitter, who was 0 for 1, walked and scored in the 2nd inning. Brantley fouls it away. Brantley, then is Drupal Cabrera and Grady Sizemore. Well, Russell Branyan was here at Progressive Field yesterday. He's been bouncing back and forth between AA Akron and Progressive Field. When he plays, he goes to Canal Park. And then when he's not playing, he comes here to Cleveland to work out and get checked out. As Brantley strikes out looking for out number 1. Let's pause once again to let stations identify themselves. You're watching Cleveland Indians baseball. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you here at Progressive Field. Indians 7, White Sox 3. Tribe batting bottom of the 6th inning is Drupal Cabrera. 2 for 2, a single, a double, 2 runs scored. He has also walked. Russell Branyan, scheduled to DH today for the Akron Ball Club, and then he's scheduled to play first base on Monday and on Tuesday.
Well, that's good. That means hopes that he'll be back. There's a chance he could join us on the road trip, as well as Kerry Wood. That would be signs of good things to come, you would hope.
Russell's saying the only fielding thing that he hasn't done so far is lunge for a ball or have to make a diving play.
Right. Well, that'll happen. Wait till you play in a game. That'll happen.
But he says he has, been running the bases. So he said, I've slid into a base 4 or 5 times and feel fine. Back is held up.
And until you get out there and play in games, you can't simulate things that you have to do coming off of an injury. Diving for a ball. You don't go out there and hit fungos where you start diving for baseballs.
And those sudden sharp movements and turns.
That's exactly right. That doesn't take place until you get in a ball game. And sometimes you may, especially at the minor league level, play a number of games where you don't have to do some of those things. It'll test him soon enough, but, he'll know. He's been around. He's a veteran. He's had back problems for a long, long time, so hopefully he'll be willing to join this club. Be interesting to see what happens when he does, though.
Kerry Wood threw 35 pitches off the mound yesterday. Manny Acta saying afterwards, looked good, threw the ball well. Said the next thing that he will do, speaking of Kerry Wood, is throw a simulated game, and he'll do that in Minnesota. And Manny Acta saying he's not sure if he'll need a rehab assignment. He said, we'll see. We'll make that determination after he throws to hitters.
Okay.
And that will happen when the Indians go to Minnesota to start that series against the
Twins. So they'll do that either on Tuesday, early at
Tuesday,
2 to 3 o'clock when the extra guys can get out there. And
2-2 pitch. Fouled away.
And for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's going to be decent when we're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Early into the year. So, and then we head out west, and that's almost a shoo-in of playing out there every game. We go to Oakland for 3, and then wind up that road trip down in L.A. against the Angels. Before we come back, it'll be the last day of April. We'll be heading into May, my friend.
All things considered, it's been a very good April. 2-2 pitch.
So far.
Swung out and missed. Randy Williams with back-to-back strikeouts here. 2 down.
Well, Dollar Dog Night, speaking of May, will return Saturday, May 1st. The Twins will be in town. It'll be a 7:05 start. That's Saturday, May 1st. All fans attending enjoy ballpark hot dogs for just $1 all night long. Visit Indians.com and get your tickets today.
Here is Grady Sizemore stepping in with 2 down, the bases empty. Grady, 2 walks, 2 runs scored. Takes a strike. That one got a piece of A.J. Przinsky's shin guard. You know, it's interesting, Rick. Remember the other day in Detroit? Or no, I'm sorry. It was the home game here,
Texas,
against Texas, when Mike Redmond took that foul tip.
Oh, he got beat up in the 1 inning. The other Teagarden, Taylor Teagarden got him.
But the one ball hit him on the knee, where there is a protection. There is padding there. But he said, where there's a crease, there's a slight crease, and he held his fingers apart. It's like not even a half of an
quarter of an inch.
There's a sliver there, and he said, "I'll be doggone if that ball didn't find its way right into that sliver and just nailed him."
Yeah, you could be covered. I mean, in any kind of armor you want, but if there's any weakness, it'll find a way. Especially when you're having one of the days that he had that day. Carmona was pitching because he catches Carmona all the time. You have another guy bunting, and he says, when I saw the barrel of the bat pointing in my direction,
I knew I was in
and
trouble.
I got a sinker ball pitcher, I know I am going to get drilled. And he said to him, what'd I ever do to you, man?
Well, Randy Williams strikes out the side. He gives Ozzie Guillen some much-needed relief. We'll go to the 7th, 7-3, Cleveland. Visit att.com for details. By GMC, the Sierra from GMC. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real, Wendy's. (7-3) Tribe on top. Yesterday, Quicken Loans Arena was rocking as the Cavaliers knocked off the Chicago Bulls in Game 1 of the NBA playoffs. And later that day, the Indians came back and beat the Chicago White Sox. And here today, they're right back at it again as the Indians lead the Sox 7-3. 7th inning of action.
Nice little scorecard. He's keeping score of this ball game. People bundled up here. Last game of the first homestand of the year.
Rafael Perez on for the 3rd time this year. Cavaliers will continue their playoff on tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. We'll end up be able to watch that on the flight to Minnesota.
Well, the AT&T call to the bullpen for Rafael Perez. Rafi trying to get things turned around. He's had some good outings and some rocky outings thus far. down low. They're call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T, a better 3G experience. I guess more than anything for Rafael Perez, he just wants to find that quote-unquote level of consistency. That helps the manager so that when he calls you on you, he knows what he can expect.
Well, if you're going to be a back-end guy, and that's why he's not in that back end right now, you need consistency. You're absolutely right. You got to know what you're expecting. And, you know, Mike Redmond's going to go right now, 2-0 count. It's the one thing Fausto did so well today in the first 4 innings. His highest pitch count was 12 pitches, which was the first inning. And then he hit the 5th inning, had a 32-pitch inning, and then wrapped it up with a 20-pitch inning.
By the way, that Cavs-Bulls playoff game is tomorrow night at 8. It's about the time we'll be heading to the airport to fly to Minneapolis. Omar Vizquel. Omar delivered the White Sox their first run of the ball game with an RBI double in the 5th. He'll turn around, bat right-handed for the first time today. And Rafael Perez flings it in there for a strike. Strike called. Vizquel was on his way to first base.
Check out the pitch here. Yeah, they're hearing it from the dugout, and they're saying it was low. Omar thought it was low, but young umpire Dan Bellino said it is not down. It had the plate. It was a strike. Throw another one down there. That one's down.
And that's ball 4. So the White Sox get their leadoff man aboard. Scott's Turf Builder delivers a lush lawn from the roots on up. Hurry in to get your free Scott's Major League Baseball fan guide exclusively at Lowe's. And the alarm sounds in the Indians' bullpen. And they are scurrying to get busy. As Rafael Perez walks the first man he faces here in the 7th inning.
Well, Mike Redmond had to go back and get another catcher's glove. I don't know if some of the strings broke in there or not, but that may be backup or glove number B.
That's the one he uses to catch left-handers.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me nowadays. They're just going to take until Perez can throw a strike. Doesn't look like he's relaxed and just throwing the baseball. More looked like he's aiming it. Fell behind Vizquel 3-0 and had to try and come back. The last thing you do is to set up the bottom part of the lineup by walking them or not making them hit their way back on base. Because you flip that over, and it won't be long before Belcher comes out and has a talk to him.
Well, he had Aaron Laffey warming the previous inning. But obviously, once Carmona was able to get through that 6th inning, they decided to go with Rafael Perez here in the 7th. And now Belcher going out to talk as it's 2-0 to Alexei Ramirez. You got right-hander Joe Smith warming in the Indians bullpen, and Aaron Laffey once
is
again
out there.
up.
They have 3 mounds out there, remember, and he is over. He is throwing. You may not be able to see it. You see that little white ball coming at you. Boy, there's nothing you can do to defense a walk. And, I mean, let's go. There's Manny saying, try a little encouragement here. Let's go. Throw strikes. I mean, you sit out there, and they have been rested. On this the last 4 games, the starters have been pretty darn good.
Taking all the way, it's in for a strike. And now Rafi Perez delivers a 2-1. And he nailed the corner. Right at the knees, 2-2. You know, Rick, last year it seemed like Rafi Perez was such a huge key for the entire success of that bullpen. Don't get the same feeling this year. I mean, it would be a huge bonus if he could find the form that he had a couple of years ago. But I don't get the sense that if he has another off year, if he struggles, that it's going to be a house of cards. They have more arms, it seems, this year that can step in and help pick up some of the slack.
I think it will all stem from the starters.
Well,
it'll all stem from them, because if you've got to get into your bullpen early, which fortunately they have not, the starters have been outstanding, then I think you have a number of pitchers you can choose from. But, should the starters falter and you've got to get into that bullpen, then you could,
And then it exposes a lot of weaknesses.
Right.
Well, the first two have reached a lot here in the 7th inning, and Rafael Perez may not be long for this ball game.
No, because if you remember, that was how the part of that game got away when they finally scored in Detroit on that Sunday on getaway day. They had that 7-1 lead.
And it's going to be Aaron Laffey, I do believe, who will come into this ball game.
Can't blame him.
So Laffey will come on in relief of left-hander Rafael Perez, who didn't have it here today. We've got a timeout in the 7th, 7-3 Cleveland. Seven-3, Tribe on top. Rafi Perez out. Aaron Laffey coming on. Laffey for the 5th time this year. No wins or losses. ERA 3.60. He's walked 2, struck out 1. In 5 innings of work.
Well, he's coming on. He's going to get the top of the lineup because Rafael Perez walked Vizquel, gave up the base hit to Ramirez. But with Pierre, the leadoff guy, be careful. This guy's a slasher. He may try and bunt. So if you're Peralta at third, you got to be heads up. Laporte at first. This guy will try and bunt, slap it the other way. Do anything he can.
Of the top 5 hitters in the lineup today for Chicago, Juan Pierre has the only hit.
And this guy is a good bad ball hitter. I mean, you don't have to throw him a strike. That first hit he got was off the plate. Outside, he just slaps it the other way.
Low, ball 1. First 5 hitters in the White Sox lineup today combined 1 for 14. And Laffey comes back to even the count at 1-1. Aaron Laffey, no stranger to working out of the bullpen. Did it in 2007, brilliantly in the postseason. Did it again last year, very effectively at times. The one difference for Aaron is that, and we pointed this out, when you come out of the pen, you've got to have it right now. You can't find it 2 or 3 hitters into the game.
I think he understands that, and I think that helped him last year after he was in the pen to come back to that rotation and throw strikes. You couldn't mess around.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Juan Pierre with 2 on, nobody out here in the 7th. Indians got 3 in the first, and then a grand slam from Shin Soo Choo in the second made it 7-0. Fausto Carmona a 2-hit shutout into the 5th before the Sox scratched down 3 runs. 2-2 pitch. Pierre bites it off. They're only in the 3rd inning at Target Field, but right now the Kansas City Royals have a 6-2 lead over Minnesota. Laffey's 2-2. Slashed out of play the other way. Minnesota came into today riding a 3-game winning streak. And the Twins trying to become the first team in baseball to reach double figures in wins, but trailing at 6-3. To center field, Grady Sizemore's got to hurry, and he makes the running grab. 1 down here in the 7th inning. Grady got a good beat on that ball and never broke stride. Gordon Beckham 0 for 2, walked his last time up. Omar Vizquel, the runner at second base. Alexi Ramirez down at first. Laffey delivers at the knees, a strike. The 0-1. And it's a called strike quickly, nothing into the count. You know, I was just thinking, Rick, with Asdrubal Cabrera out there at shortstop, and he's watching Omar Vizquel, who's taking his lead at second. How neat that must be for him to watch the guy he idolized as a kid. Omar's idols were long gone by the time he made it. Guys like Davey Concepcion, Louis Aparicio, I mean, their careers were over. But with Vizquel still playing at 42 years old, he's still on the diamond, and Cabrera, that's got to be pretty neat for him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Omar wearing number 11 this year because Ozzie Guillen has number 13. They had to bring that number out of retirement.
I think they should have a wrestling match. Cleared the clubhouse.
No, because Ozzie, was number 13 when he played, and he was another Venezuelan shortstop. And, I'll tell you what, he's been there longer.
Who do you think's more popular in Venezuela?
I don't have no idea. Never been there.
I bet it would be close.
I have no idea. But, Ozzie's been there. He was number 13, so you keep it. No big deal. Omar's just signed a new deal. He'll maybe play 1 year there, and that's that. So I thought it was awfully neat that he could get number 11 out of retirement from a former great shortstop. To wear that. Now that was impressive. I love that, what the Sox did there. And Aparicio even let him have it.
Yep.
Very cool. All the Venezuelan shortstops, as good as they are in the history, the tradition, rich into the game, like number 13.
The 0-2 just missed low. Well, we mentioned it when we were in Chicago. Ozzie Guillen went home on the off day after opening day, and he said I was in the airport, and everybody was asking, when are you going to get Omar into a game? One game into the season, they want to know how much is Omar going to play. You've got to get Vizquel into some games. The 1-2. Beckham pops it up. Playable for Laporta. 2 down.
Yeah, you're going to get a different hitter here. They're going to pinch hit for Kotze, just as you thought. It's going to be Carlos Quentin. Now,
Joe Smith is ready in the Indians bullpen.
We'll see if Manny goes out to get Joe Smith against Quentin, because you've got Quentin Konerko. Yeah, he sure is.
You know, Aaron Laffey's not really a matchup guy. He can get right-handers out, but Manny Act is saying, this is what we have Joe Smith for right here, these types of situations.
Yeah, and he is right.
So, Carlos Quentin announced as the pinch hitter. Manny Acton makes the corresponding move. We've got a timeout, 7-3, Cleveland. Seven, 3, Indians lead it. White Sox with 2 on, 2 out. Carlos Quentin pinch hitting. And on to pitch now for the Tribe is right-hander Joe Smith for the 6th time this year. No wins or losses. ERA 2.70. He's walked 3, struck out 3, and 3 1/3 innings of relief. White Sox have gone 2 for 22, batting with 2 outs in the series. Quentin normally in the White Sox everyday starting lineup. So this is his first pinch hit appearance of the year. Goes after the first pitch, and Valbuena will throw him out. Stretch time in Cleveland. Still 7-3 Tribe. 7th inning. Don't forget to stop by Panini's this spring. Grab a drink and a delicious overstuffed sandwich. Check out the new Chagrin Falls location. That'll be opening soon. Log on to paninisgrill.com for a listing of all their locations. Carlos Quinton stays in the ballgame. He's now in right field. Randy Williams will stay on the pitch here. Get a good look at downtown Cleveland. You got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum, the Science Center. And Cleveland Browns Stadium. Shin-Soo Choo takes ball one. Choo, an RBI single in the first, a grand slam in the second. Hard to believe he had 5 ribbies 2 innings into this game,
yes.
And this is only his 4th plate appearance.
Well, it slowed down after that point.
Tony Pena and Sergio Santos.
Yes, they did nice work.
Randy Williams struck out the side in the 6th. And now Choo with one hopper to second. Beckham throws him out. Back in that second inning with the bags filled with Indians and nobody out. Shin-Soo Choo with a grand slam. That brings the Great Clips, the Great Lips, huh? I don't think so. The Great Clips home run counter up to $450 donated so far this year for every homer hit by the Tribe. Great Clips donates $50 to the Gathering Place. Great needs, great deeds, Great Clips.
It's a little chilly here, I understand.
There's a lot of ways we could go with that. We should probably just leave it at that.
Let it go. That's right, my friend. It's an off day tomorrow. We'll have it all ironed out.
Johnny Peralta, 1 out of 3. He singled in the second inning. High and wide from Randy Williams. 2 balls and a strike. Johnny with a drive, right center field. Quinton, the right fielder, calls for it. 2 down. Tomorrow night at 8, STO kicks off coverage of the NFL Draft with Browns Red Zone. Jim Donovan, Doug Deacon, and Tony Grossi will take your calls and emails. Talk about the strategy of the upcoming draft for the Cleveland Browns next Thursday. Browns Red Zone tomorrow night at 8, only on STO. Matt Laporta takes a called strike.
Tell you what, Randy Williams has been in here just throwing nothing but strikes.
17 out of 23.
Punched out the side in the 6th. Comes out here, gets a ground ball, a little pop up, and so far that bullpen of the Sox has been outstanding, and they've been very good all year long.
Laporta bounces it foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 down on the bases empty. Home half of the 7th inning. J.J. Puts right-hander ready in the Sox bullpen if needed. More than likely we'll see him in the 8th. Swung on and missed. Boy, Randy Williams, terrific job. 4 strikeouts and 2 scoreless innings of relief. We'll go to the 8th. 7-3, Tribe on top. 7-3 with the Indians in front, 8th inning. Paul Konerko, A.J. Pierzynski, and Alex Rios, the scheduled hitters. And Joe Smith delivers a first pitch strike. Andy Marte comes into the ballgame defensively now at first base. And left-hander Tony Sipp is warming in the Indians' bullpen. 1-1 the count. Line toward right. Chu racing over. Dives. Can't get it. This is going to roll into the corner. Konerko's got an easy 2, and he'll hold right there with a leadoff double.
What a nice job of digging that pitch out of the inside part of the plate by Paul Konerko. And that's what happened. He had got inside on him, but he was really concentrating, and that's the approach you should probably take as a right-hander off Joe Smith. And that's probably why the ball died a little bit on Chu. He was going to dive for it and just never could get it and hold on to it. So that'll be a double for Konerko. Good piece of hitting. They will get their leadoff man aboard. The second extra base hit of the afternoon for the White Sox, and both of them have been doubles. A Vizquel double, now Konerko.
Outfielders have always told me in the past the hardest play to make is when you have to dive across your body for a ball.
Backhanded side. And plus the ball's going away from you toward the line because it wasn't hit all that hard.
Pierzynski lines it to Peralta, who makes the snare for out number 1. So 2 hard-hit balls to start the 8th. 1 for a double. This one dies into the mid of Peralta.
Yeah, catch a break right there. Good backhanded play. Pierzynski right now can't buy a hit, and he's like walking back in and just can't believe it.
That'll make you talk to yourself.
Yes, it will. Well, he's doing it right now.
Alex Rios singled and scored in the 5th. And a strike over the outside corner. Alex Rios with 9 hits in his last 25 at bats. Good pitch over for a strike there. 1-2 the count. Two balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 1 down here in the 8th. Paul Konerko taking a modest lead at second base. And Rios with a smash to first. Marte drops it down. He just does beat Joe Smith to the bag. 2 down as Konerko goes over to third on the play.
Well, every hitter has gone the other way against Joe Smith, and they've all been hit on the nose. Marte able to hold his composure after he knocks that ball down. Scoops it up, steps on the bag, and beats Rios there for out number 2.
So Martin 2 for 3 today. 2 singles and a run scored will be the batter. And a strike called. The 0-1, low and away. Now the 1-1. And Tien spoils it. Shooting it out of play and a count of ball and 2 strikes. We're in the 8th inning with the Tribe on top 7-3. And Mark Teahan at the plate with 2 down. Down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Just missed away. And the count evens up at 2-2. Tony Sipp is ready if needed in the Indians bullpen. But it would appear that by leaving Smith in to face the left-handed hitting Teahan, it's his game for now. 2-2 pitch. Low and away. Full count. Switch hitting Omar Vizquel on deck, and then right-handed hitting Alexei Ramirez would follow. But there are 2 outs here in the inning. Joe Smith got the last out of the 7th inning on 1 pitch. And now time is called as Mike Redmond has to go out and talk things over with Smith.
Well, whatever Smith pitch he throws here, he has to throw a strike. You can't walk anybody. You've got to make him hit his way on here. You still have a 4-run lead. And I saw Mike Redmond went fastball away, didn't want it. Fastball, and didn't want it. And went with a little slider. But with his slider, the left-handers, throw that fastball in on his hands because his slider breaks into the sweet spot. It's got to be a perfect pitch. And I don't think he has perfect control of that slider. He's got a little tailing fastball. Let's go. Throw that on the inside part of the plate.
Wants it away. Fastball. Payoff pitch. Missed. Ball 4. So now 2 on with 2 out. And Omar Vizquel, switch hitter, will come up and bat left-handed with 2 on and 2 out. Vizquel 1 out of 2, doubled in a run and scored in the 5th. He has walked and struck out today. Indians still lead it by 4, but Chicago trying to peck away. Omar went after that first pitch, fouled it over in front of the dugout of Chicago. You remember, Rick, back to that game in Detroit when the Indians had the grand slam by Luis Valbuena. They had the early 5-0 lead, and Detroit kind of stubbed their toe, but they had opportunities, lots of opportunities, and eventually they broke through. Here today, though, that 7-run early Indians advantage has stood up so far.
Well, they didn't have 9 walks in the game. They also, Chicago doesn't have 18 hits. I mean, it was a totally different ball game.
Yeah.
Because they had base runners. They left 2 on base almost every inning but 1. Right now, though, the Sox have out-hit the Indians 8-7, but he's going to get out of this one.
Brady Sizemore will make the grab. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's still 7-3 Cleveland. Now we go to the bottom of the 8th inning here in downtown Cleveland with the Tribe in front 7-3. Looking to make it a 3-game sweep of the Chicago White Sox this weekend. J.J. Putz coming on for the 5th time this year for Chicago. No wins, a loss, an ERA of 4.15. He has struck out 9, has not walked a batter in 4 1/3 innings of work. Coming up on WKYC Channel 3 tonight, it's Dateline NBC at 7. Minute to Win It at 8. Then at 9, Archie's favorite show, Celebrity Apprentice.
When are you going to be on there?
On me?
Yeah, you get to work with Darryl Strawberry and the boys.
I was thinking it'd be maybe somebody, I'd show up as a groundskeeper coming out to work at your palatial estate.
Yeah, right.
Swung on and fouled, or maybe just swung right through it.
We got to get Mike Segi to work on there. Get a guest appearance on there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Why is that?
He's got
he'd
too many.
He'd fit in beautifully. He'd work well with those people, wouldn't he?
That was foul tipped, hung on by Przinski, and that's a strikeout, 1 down. Well, thanks to the Spirit of Goodyear for our aerial coverage today. New Fuel Max tires help get you there on less gas. Calculate your savings at GoodyearTires.com. And thanks again to pilot Jerry Hissam and camera operator Josh Miller today for all the great aerial shots of downtown Cleveland from high above the action. Mark Grudzielanek, 1 out of 3. His 2-run single in the first, though, came with 2 outs, and it maybe broke things loose a little bit. Made it 3-0, and the Indians came back with 4 in the second to make it 7-zip.
Well, our fan from Sandusky's right. It's getting here right now, starting to clear up a little
Yeah,
bit.
starting to see some patches of blue out there. Grudzielanek bidding for a second hit today, and he'll drop it into center field.
Well, this is a fastball that puts leaves up, middle of the plate, and he jumps all over it. And you better hit those pitches. When you get them, you better put them in play and get a base hit. That's what big league hitters do well. That's hit number 8 for the Indians, and White Sox have 8 as well.
Tapper up the middle. Oh, nicely. No, he dropped it. It looked like it was going to be a perfect play, and Alexi Ramirez just mishandled it.
It should have been a perfect play. He just rushed it.
It was all set up for him to just catch it, step on the bag, throw to first, double play, inning over.
He nonchalanted it, Matt, and I think we tried to rush it and never really held on to it. The umpire's right there, see? He never had it. That's a good call.
He might have had a case that the out was at second base.
Well, that's what he was saying. I had the ball in my glove, but I don't think he was transferring. I mean, it was in his. It was not enough time for the umpire, at least at second, for Mike Winters. That was a routine double play if he steps on the base, but you've got to give an error there.
And Michael Brantley takes a strike 0 for 2. Walked and scored in the second. Since then, a couple of strikeouts. Now another chance for the double play. They go 4-6-3, and this time Ramirez makes sure of it. We'll go to the 9th here in Cleveland. Indians will try to nail down the sweep when we come back. 7-3, Indians on top, 9th inning here at Progressive Field. Glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon. Tribe looking for a 3-game sweep. And in doing so would run their win streak to 4 in a row and get them back to the 500 mark. On to try and close things out for the Tribe today will be left-hander Tony Sipp for the 6th time this year. No wins or losses. ERA 4.91. He has struck out 6, walked 4 in his 3 2/3 innings of work. Tony Sipp fires, and Ramirez takes high for ball 1. We're back here on Channel 3 in 2 weeks for more Indians baseball, and the Tribe finishes up a weekend series with Minnesota. Twins and Indians, Sunday, May 2nd at 1, right here on Channel 3, your official Cleveland Indians station.
Well, after today's game, the Sox will enjoy tomorrow off and head back to the Windy City in Chicago and take on the Rays. And then the Seattle Mariners come in to visit those guys.
Ozzie Guillen was asked last night if this road trip was becoming a nightmare, as the Sox had lost 3 straight. He said, nightmare for you, not for me. Not for me, maybe for the players. I'm going to sleep like a baby. I'm going to wake up every 2 hours and cry. Pops it up, foul ground. Johnny Peralta, Mike Redmond, nobody. Into the seats.
That's pretty good. Well, you know, they split in Toronto. And
after almost getting no hit, that's
right.
A pretty good accomplishment.
I mean, and he said it, you know, until they start hitting, because their pitching's been pretty good. Up until today, where it was 7 early runs and Floyd just didn't have his command or control. Their bullpen's been very good. If they don't start hitting, they're not going to win. And he understands that. So it's up to the players to regroup after they get an off day.
Ramirez socks it into center field, and the White Sox have their leadoff man aboard.
3 hits today.
We'll pause for station identification. You're watching Cleveland Indians baseball. Well, after the previous couple of ball games, this must seem like a marathon. Closing in on a 3-hour ball game here. Thursday's game was
2:03.
Yeah, Thursday's game was 2:03. Friday's was 2:04.
Right.
Saturday's was 2:24.
Right.
Juan Pierre takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Chris Perez just in case. Punches it, and it's going to drop. And on his way to third is Alexi Ramirez.
I really believe that you'd be better off throwing that guy a pitch right down the middle. An 0-2, this breaking ball was not in a bad location. When we show you the replay, you're going to see he picks it up off the ground. His other hit today in the first inning was about 6 inches off the plate. He's an outstanding bad ball hitter. You're probably better off just throwing it down the middle and let him put it. Look at this. This ball down and away. Gets enough of it. He has to reach. That's not a bad pitch. And bloops it in for a base hit. So it's back-to-back singles to start off the 9th. And they're going to have to work for it again today because the Sox aren't going easily. They've had base runners, at least 2 base runners in every inning in the last 3 innings.
Well, Chris Perez is warming in that Indians bullpen, and he'll be ready shortly. But Gordon Beckham right now is the batter with Carlos Quinton on deck and then Paul Konerko. So 3 right-handers in a row with Tony Sipp, the left-hander, on the hill. And Gordon Beckham, 0 for 3, will be the batter he walked back in the 5th inning. There's a ball in the air to right, shallow right shoe. Coming, goes to the turf, makes the grab, and hangs on, and the runners have to hold. Oh, what a play by Shin-Soo Choo. If he does not come up with that, we got trouble here at Progressive Field. But that was a sensational grab to hopefully quell the momentum of the Sox here in the ninth.
Well, very well could have, because you're right. In a situation like that, you have got to make that play and make sure you can catch it, and Choo did. Nice defensive play, and they were not able to score. But, you know what, he had a really good idea he was going to catch that ball. Got a good jump on it. Beckham goes that way, so I'm sure he was anticipating that ball being hit to him. And look at Redmond saying, nice catch, nice throw. And now Manny Acton wants to come out and go get the right-hander Chris Perez.
So we've got a timeout. Indians lead by four, with the Sox having 2 on and 1 out here in the ninth. Let's have a look at our player of the game. And Shin-Soo Choo takes the honors today with a terrific effort.
Yeah, he's been the hottest hitter the Indians have had, and 5 ribbies. That big slam spotted him a 7-run lead early, and just made a very nice catch in right field after first and second, nobody out, to keep it where it is. So
runner at first breaks for second. They'll let him take off uncontested, but it will be a steal for Juan Pierre, and that's his 3rd of the game.
Well, they're not paying attention to him. They care about this guy here in the on-deck hitter.
Well, yesterday Chris Perez faced both Carlos Quentin and Paul Konerko, the 2 guys he'll have to face here this afternoon. Up high, 2-0. Quentin flied to right in a 7-pitch at bat. And Konerko flied to center on a 4-pitch at bat. But remember, we talked about that earlier. He nearly yanked one down the left field line for extra bases, but it hooked foul at the end. Two balls and a strike. Quentin grounded to second when he pinch hit for Marcotte in the 7th. That was on the first pitch he saw. Swung on and missed. He threw it by him 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, good location with that heater.
Juan Pierre, great speed at second. Ramirez at third. Foul back over the screen. That becomes the most important run, because that's the tying run right now for Chicago. If Quentin can get aboard.
That's exactly right. They need one more base runner. That's why you got to go at these guys and still stay aggressive.
2-2. In the air, right field, well hit. Back goes Chu. He'll make the catch. Runners tag, and they will both move up as Alexi Ramirez scores. It's a 7-4 ball game. Pierre goes to third, but now there are 2 down. For Carlos Quentin, he gets an RBI. It's the Sox a run closer now. 11 ribbies on the year to lead Chicago. And with 2 down, Paul Konerko, 1 out of 4 with a double, will be the batter. And a fastball at the knees for a strike. We'll have the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care postgame show coming up on Sports Time Ohio immediately following the game. For those of you watching on Channel 3, stay tuned for the NHL playoffs. Konerko with 2 down and a runner at third. Chris Perez trying to end it right here. The 0-2 pitch. And Konerko stays alive. The Phoenix Coyotes at Detroit. The NHL playoffs coming up next on Channel 3. The Joe will be hopping this afternoon. Progressive Field. Those who are here hooting and hollering. 2-strike pitch. Low and away. A ball and 2 strikes. If Konerko should reach, A.J. Pierzynski would be next. Low and away again. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Manny active. Trying to pilot this club to a 4-game win streak and get it back to 500 on the year. But he needs Chris Perez to take care of Paul Konerko in order to accomplish that. Fausto Carmona started today, went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, walked 2, struck out 4. 2-2. Hit deep to left. Hooking. And for the second day in a row, Konerko just misses a home run.
Well, this one definitely had the distance. Yesterday did not.
Yesterday was just short, but it was also left of the mark. Deep down the left side. Again, the 2-2. And the count goes full. Pretty good battle here between Perez and Konerko. Paul Konerko, very good eye at the plate. And the payoff pitch. Struck him out looking. Chris Perez ends the game with a punch out. And the Indians have won 4 in a row. They are back to 500 now at 6-6 on the year. Chicago has now lost 4 straight. And their record on the year is 4-9. The win goes to Fausto Carmona, who is now 2-0 on the year for the Tribe. The save goes to Chris Perez, who picks up his 4th. And the loss for Chicago goes to Gavin Floyd, who drops to 0-2 on the year. Time now for our play of the game. It's brought to you by KeyBank, banking home of your Cleveland Indians.
Well, it was early in this ball game. You come to the second inning, bases are loaded, and Chu picks out a breaking ball. Left-handers really did damage to Gavin Floyd. They were 4 for 4. They walked 4 times, and Chu drives in 4 with one swing of the bat. Outstanding. His second career grand slam. That will be our KeyBank play of the game.
So the Tribe wins it by a final score of